today's class we are going to see the second method of finding out the inverse of a matrix. In the previous classes when we were dealing with matrices, we had seen that by using row and column operations, the inverse of a matrix could be found. Today we are going to see a shorter method to find out the inverse. And to understand the shorter method, we first need to understand what exactly is adjoint of a square matrix. So whenever we refer to adjoint of a matrix, we obviously mean adjoint of a square matrix. So what exactly is adjoint of a square matrix? The adjoint of a square matrix of order n is the transpose matrix defined as transpose matrix of this, where Aij is cofactor of the element Aij. So let us understand this with an example. So what we need first is a square matrix. So let the square matrix be of order 3, defined like this. I'm taking a generalized example. The second row elements and the third row elements. Okay, the adjoint of this matrix is written in short like this, read as adjoint of A. What is this? This is the transpose matrix. That means this is transpose of some matrix. What is inside this? Aij. What is Aij? The cofactors. Alright. So writing corresponding cofactors, cofactor of this element you know is represented by capital A11. This is capital A12, capital A13, and likewise the cofactors of the other elements. And when we transpose the matrix, we obtain a matrix where the rows get transformed into corresponding columns. So the first row is the first column, likewise second row is second column, and the third row becomes the third column. That means we have found the transpose matrix. So see here we have got a square matrix. It has got, in this example, 9 elements. We find out the cofactors of each of these elements. Now when you're finding out cofactors, please ensure these are special elements. What is special about these elements? The sum of subscripts in each such case is odd. So you have to change the sign of whatever value you get here. Value of the determinant changes its sign. Alright, so I'm just putting the circles here to ensure these are the elements where the determinant will change its sign. Right? And then you transpose it. So this matrix which is finally obtained is the adjoint of the matrix. So that means if we have a 3 by 3 matrix, we do it in 2 steps. First step we find out the cofactor. Second step we find out the transpose. And we obtain the adjoint matrix of a 3 by 3 matrix. Now suppose we have a 2 by 2 matrix and our matrix is this. Then in that case, the adjoint of this matrix will be transpose of the elements. So here these are the special elements, their signs will change. The signs of the determinants while finding cofactors will change. So when we find out cofactor of this, let me write it down like this. The cofactor is A11, A12, A13, A21. This is A22. So this is what we are going to find out here, right? So cofactor means delete first row, first column, you obtain 4. For this cofactor, delete first row, second column, you obtain 3 because it is a special element, it will change its sign. When you're finding out A21, that means delete second row, first column, you obtain 2. This is again a special element, it will change its sign. Likewise, you obtain the element 1 here and then you transpose. So on transposing, you obtain this matrix. So this again has been done in 2 steps. First step, we have found the cofactors here. Then we have transposed to obtain the adjoint matrix. Now there is a shortcut method that helps us find out adjoint of a 2 by 2 matrix. The shortcut method is applicable only for a 2 by 2 matrix. So if you notice here, in this example only, the adjoint is obtained by interchanging the diagonal elements. See, diagonal elements interchange gives you 4 and 1. Alright, so what we have done here is, the first thing we have done is interchange diagonal elements. Alright, next, the off diagonal elements remain as such, but the signs get changed. You can see here the element is 2 and the element is 3 with opposite signs. So here in the next step we have changed sign of non-diagonal elements. So the adjoint can be directly found. Let us try out something else. There is a matrix with elements 5, 6, minus 7, 8. If we want to find out the adjoint of this matrix using the shortcut method, then it means interchange diagonal elements. So here is 8 and 5, and the non-diagonal elements simply change their signs. This becomes minus 6, this is minus 7, so it becomes positive 7. So for a 2 by 2 matrix, we do have a shortcut method, but if it is a 3 by 3 matrix, we have to find out the cofactors and then transpose the matrix. Next, we shall define a singular matrix. Now here also singular matrix means singularity of a square matrix. So matrix A of order n, that means it's a square matrix, is singular if the determinant of the matrix is 0. For example, if A is this matrix, then on finding the determinant, we see the determinant is 6 minus 6, which is 0. Hence, this matrix is a singular matrix. Next, non-singular matrix. I think now everybody can easily write down what is a non-singular matrix. Square matrix A of order n is non-singular if the determinant of the matrix is not equal to 0. Let's take an example. We have this matrix, and on finding the determinant, we see it is 4 minus 6, which is minus 2, not equal to 0. Hence, this is a non-singular matrix. Now, we have just now studied about the adjoint of a matrix. So, we can write down one important result here, that a square matrix A multiplied by its adjoint matrix is same as the adjoint matrix multiplied by matrix A, which is equal to determinant A into I. Please note here that a square matrix when multiplied by its adjoint gives us this result. That means if a matrix, square matrix, is multiplied by its adjoint, then this matrix multiplication is commutative. And if it is, and because it is commutative, the product will always be equal to determinant A into I. So let us take here 3 by 3 matrix. So I am writing here matrix A, which has elements A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23 and A31, A32, A33. So I have written here matrix A of order 3 multiplied by its adjoint. Now you know when you find out the adjoint, you basically write down the transpose of the cofactors. So the first row cofactors are now the first column elements like this. The second row cofactors is the second column, and likewise the third row cofactors is the third column. So we have written matrix A and the adjoint of the matrix. Now let us multiply. Multiplication is easily possible because both are square matrices of order 3. Now we are going to write down the first row elements. So for the first row elements, what we'll do is multiply first row by the first column. So here please notice that when you multiply this element with the first row with the first column, what you do is multiply the element by its cofactor. This element multiplied by its cofactor. Likewise, the third element multiplied by its cofactors, and adding on. When you do this, this basically gives you the determinant of the matrix. Okay. For this element, the first row elements are multiplied by the second column elements. Notice here, the element is this, which is not multiplied by its own cofactor. It is being multiplied by the cofactor of the second row. So the first row elements are multiplied by the cofactors of the second row. Hence, this should come out to be 0. Likewise, first row elements multiplied by cofactors of the third row give us 0. Likewise, when we continue, we notice that we will obtain a matrix of this kind. In this matrix, determinant A is common. So on taking A, determinant A common, we have this matrix, which is now defined as the identity matrix. So it is determinant A into identity matrix, right? So here, whenever matrix A is multiplied by its adjoint, the result is equal to determinant A into I. Similarly, we can perform an operation. Take the same example, multiply adjoint by the matrix, we will still get determinant A into I. One more result that we have done in the previous classes, when we were discussing properties of determinants, we have already discussed this. If A and B are square matrices of same order, finding the determinant of the product is same as product of corresponding determinants. If there is a constant multiplied by a matrix, here I am taking this to be scalar multiplication, then this multiplied by determinant of B, and if matrix A is a square matrix of order n, then it goes like this. This is something which we have discussed earlier as well. So now we will refer to this case only. Here let us take A to be a square matrix of order 3. If A is a square matrix of order 3, then according to the result written there, we have matrix A multiplied by its adjoint. This is equal to determinant A into I. So I'll just rewrite it like this. This is a matrix, identity matrix multiplied by the determinant of A. So we get this kind of a matrix. Alright, so right side we have a matrix, left side we have product of matrix. So now let us find determinant of matrices on both sides. So on the left side we have determinant of matrix A multiplied by its adjoint. On the right side the determinant is this. Now look at this property. Determinant of product of two matrices can be written as product of two determinants. So using the same property here on the left hand side we have determinant A multiplied by determinant of the adjoint matrix. On the right side, properties of determinants. In the first row, we can take determinant A common. So the first row will become 1, 0, 0. Second row, take determinant A common. So we have this. Third row, again take determinant A common. So finally we have this. And on finding the determinant of the identity matrix, we notice it is 1. So the expression that we get here is this. Which can be, because determinant A is not 0, so we can write down that determinant of the adjoint matrix is equal to square of determinant of A. When do we get this result? When the order of the square matrix is 3. Alright. Now suppose the order of square matrix is n, then the result can be written in generalized form as the determinant of adjoint is determinant A. See, you can correlate. When order is 3, the power here is 1 less than 3. So if order of A is n, then power here should be n minus 1. So this way we have obtained one important result, and based on this result we are usually asked 1 mark questions in the exam. So next we are given an important theorem in the book which states that A is an invertible matrix if and only if A is non-singular. So what do we mean by if and only if? If and only if means two things. First, if we assume that A is the given invertible matrix, then we can show that A is non-singular, and vice versa, which means if A is a non-singular matrix, then we can show that A is an invertible matrix. So we are going to prove the theorem. So let us start by the assumption that A is an invertible matrix. So let A be an invertible matrix of order n. Because it is invertible, then obviously there exists matrix B of same order n such that, by definition of invertible matrix, a matrix multiplied by B should be equal to B into A, which should be equal to identity matrix. So this way A is the matrix and then there exists B of same order n, so that matrix multiplication is commutative, and in that case the product of the matrices is equal to the identity matrix. Alright, so here let us take this equation AB is equal to I, and let us take determinant of the matrices on both the sides like this. So the left side determinant gives us determinant A multiplied by determinant B, and determinant of identity matrix is 1. So this equation tells us here that determinant A cannot be 0, because if it is 0, 0 multiplied by any real number cannot be equal to 1. So hence we know that determinant A cannot be 0, which means that A is a non-singular matrix. So you can see here a part of the theorem we have proved. We started with the concept that A is invertible matrix, and we have shown that A is now a non-singular matrix. Now let us try the other way. Suppose A is non-singular, we will prove that A is invertible. So conversely, let A be a non-singular matrix. This means that determinant of A is not equal to 0. We have just now studied this result, that a square matrix multiplied by its adjoint is same as the adjoint matrix multiplied by A, which is equal to determinant A into I. Let us divide each part here by determinant A. We are dividing by determinant A because determinant A is not 0. We can always divide by a non-zero quantity. So this is a real number which is not 0. So dividing the three parts of the equation by a non-zero quantity, we get an expression like this. So here we have divided by determinant A. Here also, if we write down this way, that means we have divided by determinant A, and on this side we get I. So if you look at this equation, it can be almost written like this. You can compare and say that B matrix is basically the adjoint of A divided by the determinant of A, right? Since we are getting this equation, what is this equation? This is basically the definition of invertible matrix. Because we are getting this equation, this means that A is invertible. If A is invertible, that means what is the inverse of A? This implies that inverse of A is matrix B, and this is matrix B. So therefore, we obtain one important result, that inverse of A is the adjoint matrix of A divided by the determinant. So this is the shortcut formula for finding out the inverse of any 3 by 3 matrix. Here we have to simply ensure that determinant A is not 0. That means A has to be a non-singular matrix. If A is a non-singular matrix, then we find out the determinant first, find out the adjoint matrix, and then divide the each element of the adjoint matrix by that real number which is determinant A, and the resultant matrix that we obtained is the inverse matrix. So now in the next class, using all the concepts of today's class, we shall be in a position to solve questions of exercise 4.5.